Welcome, Bills Mafia, to Bills or Bust, the podcast dedicated to all things Buffalo Bills. I'm Tom Murphy. Join in as we talk about the Buffalo Bills, of course, and also the other 31 teams in the league that will watch us win the Super Bowl or bust. Hey. Welcome, Bills Mafia, to the Bills or Bust podcast. I'm Tom Murphy. And wow, after such an emotional week, very good news today on the game front. Bills winning 35-23, securing the second seed in the playoffs. Today, I am joined by my good buddy, Paul Scinta from Buffalo, New York, Bills mega fan. How you doing today, Paul?
I'm doing all right. Great game today. Great Sabres game last night. It's been a good sports weekend for Buffalo fans. Much needed.
Oh, yeah. The Sabres have been on fire as of late, too. And wish I got to see. I don't have the package for hockey, and I may have to download that.
Do a GoFundMe, I think. Do a GoFundMe for that.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. And big weekend for Buffalo, especially after everything that's happened this week. You know, obviously with Damar Hamlin, all the signs are looking so positive. It's just, fantastic news. Still not out of the woods yet, but everything just seems so positive on that front. And not to mention some more sad Buffalo Bills news. Channel 7 sportscaster John Murphy went down with a stroke this week, and he is recovering, and he's such a huge part of the Buffalo community, the Bills community, sports community, and we definitely send our regards out to him as well.
He wasn't even doing the game against Cincinnati that was being done by Chris Brown, so he actually, I think he may have had that stroke around the day before that Monday night game.
Yeah, it's just been a real rough start to 2023 for the city of Buffalo. But before we get into the game today, now for your Buffalo Bills minute recap. After an emotional week, the Bills come out with a bang on a Nyheim Hines kickoff return for a touchdown versus the Patriots in Week 18 at Highmark Stadium in Orchard Park. And despite a valiant effort by a hungry Patriots offense led by Mac Jones, Bills defense forces 3 second-half interceptions in honor of their brother-in-arms, Damar Hamlin, to secure the second seed in the AFC, setting the stage for a classic Bills vs. Dolphins first-round playoff matchup. And, Paul, second seed in the AFC, not too shabby, all things considered. But, man, a third matchup this season with the Miami Dolphins. I'm still kind of curious to know if they're going to be going with Bridgewater or Tua. I don't know if there's been any word on that. Have you heard anything?
I haven't. Actually, they were using their third string today, right? Skylar Thompson is his name?
That is right, yeah.
Yeah, so, but no, I've not heard. There's definitely a difference between Tua and Bridgewater, at least this year. So I would always prefer Bridgewater. But I have not heard either way.
Oh yeah, no, it's going to be tough either way. And yeah, Skylar Thompson, no idea what to expect from him. And yeah, the Dolphins just narrowly escaped that. It was a 3-way race for that 7 seed today between the Patriots, of course, the Dolphins, and the Steelers. Steelers seemed to win rather handily today, and Dolphins won on a last-second 50-yard field goal and got a safety. I didn't even see how they got that safety, but an 11-6.
I heard it was after one of those pitchy woo-woos, as Scott Van Pelt calls them, after the when there was a few seconds left after the field goal. I guess to end up going all the way back into their own zone for a safety. So,
oh my God, yeah, that's exactly right. And both you and me are fans of the scoregami. I don't even have to look it up. I know that is not a scoregami, 11-6.
It's not a scoregami?
Yeah, I think there was actually a NFC Championship game in 1999 between the Buccaneers and Rams.
Rams, that's right. Was that 11-6? That score did sound familiar to me, too. Was that 11-6?
That's right. I'm pretty sure that was. Man, I should have done. I think
you're right. That's right. I can check it on my computer while you're doing that.
Oh yeah, it is crazy because that seems like a score like that could have never happened, and it actually happened in back in the days of Sean King. For those who don't know,
yes, that was the Bert Emanuel. That was the Bert Emanuel play, wasn't it? Wasn't that the game that changed the rules about catches? I think it did.
That actually does sound. I know. Bert Emanuel is famous for the Bert Emanuel rule. And
because he had his hands on the ball, but the ball he had it gripped tightly, but the nose of the ball touched the ground, and so they called it an incomplete catch. And then they decided after that as long as you have control of it, it can touch the ground. I think that was the rule, and I think that was the game.
Wow, that's incredible. Yeah, I remember that game. Sean King at quarterback. And for those who don't know what a scoregami is, yeah, myself, Paul, and our good friend Jason Thurston are kind of obsessed with scores that have never happened in the NFL. Something like 11-5 probably has never happened. So you would think 11-6 never happened, but that actually has in NFL history.
You need one of the teams to get 4, and there's a lot of openings with a score of 4, and then you're going to have a lot of opportunities for scoregami.
Oh, absolutely. And there is one score that's a scoregami that I find absolutely insane. 36-23 has never happened in the history of the NFL. It seems like such a common score, you would think, but for some reason it's never happened.
And by the way, your memory is correct. 11-6 was that game.
Oh, yes.
Rams over Buccaneers.
I know, 1999. It feels like it was just over a year ago. And back to this game, Paul. It was the first time in 18 years that the Bills returned an opening kickoff for a touchdown.
Someone posted a stat to Damar Hamlin. The Buffalo Bills, I think, tweeted Damar Hamlin that it was the first kickoff return for 3 years and 3 months to continue the 3 theme that seems to be going on and everything in the Buffalo world right now.
That is crazy. I think we're just finding 3s everywhere. Tage Thompson with the hat trick the other night for the Sabres. And it is just, you sometimes have to believe in faith.
Yeah, and today both quarterbacks threw for 3 touchdowns, and they both had 3 turnovers. The teams both had 3 turnovers total.
That is
crazy.
Man, the 3s are just, I mean, he was definitely on everybody's hearts today. I know a couple people at the game who said that opening touchdown was just like the place just felt like it was going to explode. And
I imagine it was probably also cathartic, right? At the same time as being so exciting, is also this kind of, I don't know, just a good. We're not going to worry about falling flat today. We're just going to start this game right and then in an amazing way.
Oh yeah, and I know Damar had he tweeted at that time. He tweeted OMFG, which we all know what that is. And you know where his mind was today, despite the he's had.
I wonder if they had to limit his TV time watching the game like this. I mean, if I had any problems with my heart, I certainly would not be watching this game entirely. It was rough.
Oh, of course,
but I hope you enjoyed it as well as you could have.
Oh, I'm sure. We got the W, and he's all about the Bills. Sure, we did. Mm-hmm. It's like you have to say, with that opening kickoff, you just kind of had the feeling, and also the next drive, 3 and out, Rousseau, smacking down Jones on the third down, and you just kind of had a feeling like, my gosh, is this going to be 70-0 or something? Mm-hmm. And it was just, man, New England came to play.
Yeah, they did.
A lot was on the line for them today, and they gave us a test, especially early.
Yeah, they played like they were trying to make the playoffs.
Oh, yeah. And, it was like with that kickoff, you're just thinking like, I hate to say it, like, Belichick was like, my gosh, are they playing soft or something? Because it just, it almost, the kickoff return, I'm sorry, it almost seemed a little too easy. Like, Naheem was.
It did. I agree. At least the second one, someone tried to tackle him. The first one, he just made one little move to the right and then just outran the group. So I don't know. It did seem very poorly covered, but whatever. I'll take it no matter how it happens.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. And it's also Belichick came out with the "We Love Damar" 3 T-shirt, and it's a side of Belichick we don't see, but we know he's not the type to just be like, go easy on them on this play. So it's
no, I don't think he would.
I think that was just amazing execution by Naheem Hines, who is a professional kick returner. Speaking of which, I've shared this sentiment with Jason, and I'm sure you agree. With Naheem Hines back there returning kicks, there's much less anxiety as before we had him when we would have, McKenzie or Jones. Like every time a kick goes up, it's more or less like, oh, please, just catch it.
No, he's a professional. I mean, at that position, he's really good at it. I don't know if you noticed in the first couple of games he played on the punt returns, he tended to catch them almost where his hands were at his face just about a couple times. But he says he does that sometimes, and it scared me. But he caught it solid, and so I mean, whatever you got to do, as long as you don't fumble, you can do whatever you want to do. Great pickup at the trade deadline.
Oh, absolutely, and that'll be so huge in the playoffs. Just having that, just having that assurance, and was a little wonkiness. Felt like, while the Bills were playing with a lot of heart, they must have been absolutely exhausted today, leaving a lot of holes on defense. Mac Jones he was perfect on those touchdown drives. Like, I think on the
Yeah,
first three touchdown drives, he was like, I think 17 for 17, and that's
I
not
heard
the
that. I
Mac
heard that
Jones.
he didn't have a single incompletion on the first three touchdown drives or three scoring drives.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think it was two touchdowns and a field goal. But yeah, that's great on his part, poor on our part. But eventually it seemed like we put it together. But yeah, they looked good on offense, and they look good on defense too, especially in
oh
the
yeah,
first half.
in the first half, yeah, we weren't really establishing a running game. Allen was looking great on some passes, but the main thing is it's been a thing all season. Something I'm most worried about in the playoffs: the offensive line. It's coming sort of a liability. There were just times where the line was just completely collapsing.
Yeah, I noticed it a lot too. Well, they talk about how they brought in Roger Saffold, but he's supposed to be a really good run blocker, right? I think if I remember correctly. But not, some of these offensive linemen, they're real good at one type of play with, run or pass, but they're not always good at both of them. And
Oh yeah,
I think he might be one of the weak points there. Fortunately, Allen's very mobile and he can survive a lot of those. But yeah, they're pretty porous.
oh yeah. No, they definitely leave holes, and it's a very new show. I don't like to really throw anybody under the bus, but I will. Deion Dawkins, I mean, great guy, great community guy, of course. Walter Payton
Mm-hmm.
here at times just seemed to be getting abused on that left
Mm-hmm.
side. And luckily, the number of sacks, Allen was only sacked twice, and where Tony Romo, who's one of the most positive commentators on the Knox touchdown, which was great, they were talking about like, oh, look at all the time he had. But they were also, the Patriots were only rushing three players at that
Yeah.
time. So it's like,
Well, yeah,
five of them
he did point that out too. Yeah, well, when it's a 3-man rush, you can take your time back there, right? But yeah, no,
Oh, yeah.
it's when they run four or more, it's been an adventure.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. And also Spencer Brown, was just behemoth on that right side.
So
He's,
big.
yeah, he
Did
seems
you
to
see him
get
walk off the field? He got injured for a minute there, and he walked off the field, and it's just. I mean, Sean McDermott, I know he's not a big guy, but he's an average sized guy, I think. And he looks like a small person, a very small person next to
oh, of course, yeah.
him, Spencer Brown. He's just enormous.
Oh, 6'9". Oh, yeah. It's and it seems like he purposely stands next to shorter guys. It's
That could be right.
anytime you see him next to Singletary, it's just
It's an ego thing for him, huh?
it's
Yeah.
like you're watching the Billy Crystal movie, My Giant.
Oh, yeah. Wow, who thought there was going to be a reference to My Giant today?
Yeah, it's funny. That movie just kind of came to my mind in the past few days. That's a fitting, and it should be referenced more often.
It really classic.
Yeah,
Classic over time.
absolutely. And Bills got at the end of the half got a little Billsy with Bills are the best team in the NFL in the last 2 minutes, and the line kind of created that interception at the end. Allen.
Yeah. I heard they mentioned that he was getting pressured, but he also shouldn't throw that. I don't think. I think maybe he was just assuming he could arm throw that, without putting anybody into it. But yeah, that was. He had wasn't. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, it's one thing I love about Allen. Our quarterback before that was Tyrod Taylor, who averaged like 4 to 6 interceptions a year, but took zero risks.
Right.
So I think we love this. We love this cocky ass guy we have, Josh Allen, who just is like, I know I'm good enough, I'll throw it. But on that play, even though like the protection broke down, it didn't look like it didn't look like he had a sure shot there before he threw that.
No, I don't think so either. I was just hoping for a field goal at that point, but yeah, once you throw the interception, that's it.
And then going into the second half, they drive down, get the interception by White. So great to see him get on the interception board. Just not only as a player, just a presence on that team. I've considered him the best defensive player we've had since Bruce Smith, just in how clutch he can be.
Wow,
it's high.
Quite
it's
high praise for him. High praise, right?
Yeah, it's like nobody really disagrees with me, but nobody ever wants to fully come out and say like, "Yes, you are right." But,
right, because then they got to if they say no, that's not true. They have to come up with a different person's name. Right?
Exactly. An easy one to say is Kyle Williams, but it's like, no. I'm going with White.
No,
just the amount of he makes,
Yeah.
White.
I mean,
But it
on a
seems like
one-year
White.
basis, Mario Williams was good, but yeah, that was just kind of like that 1 year. But yeah, I mean, we've had a good year here or there by people. But yeah, you're right. White is he's just there's times you don't ever hear his name, but that's the point, right? Because no one's ever throwing it over there. There's certain games you just don't even hear his name, and that's a great thing for a cornerback.
Exactly. I love the Mario Williams reference. My dad, he always said when we had Mario Williams, he's just like, oh, Mario Williams just seems like such an underachiever. And there was that one game, it was in his second season, I think, was it? Yeah, I think his second season with the Bills. He had like 4.5 sacks against the Panthers. My dad was still talking.
Yes, I was at that game.
Oh, yeah.
I was at that game, yes. Yep. That was the one where we scored at the very end when we thought E.J. Manuel was actually going to be the saving grace of the quarterback.
Exactly. The next three.
To Wyatt and Stevie. Yeah. And by the way, can I mention something else? When it comes to, we had the 2 kickoffs today for a touchdown. I've actually been to a game where there were 2 kickoffs for a touchdown, but it wasn't. It was the Bills were the team the Bills were one of the teams, but not the team that got the 2 kickoffs.
Oh, I believe. Oh my God, that would have been a great trivia question. I know which Chad Morton.
Yes, very good. Do you remember the season?
Week 1, 2002.
Bam, very good. Yep. Jeff Kingsley and I were there at that game.
Oh,
the second one was in overtime. Start overtime. Yep.
Right after Blitz game tying touchdown, that was just like, oh my gosh, that's just so amazing.
That's right. I don't remember what Bledsoe did because I left there leaving with the impression of Chad Morton scoring his second kickoff return for a touchdown in the same game. That's all I remember from that game.
So that's one of the 5 because Hines got the 5th one in NFL history. Second.
Oh, really? I didn't even realize that.
It's kind of incredible.
Do you know the other ones? Are they from a long time ago?
Ones, I think it's just kick returns. I'm sure Hester probably had like
the punt and a kickoff. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's just with kickoff returns. So
okay, that's cool. I'll have to look at that stat.
I know. Yeah, didn't have too much time, but start with Mario Williams. We were talking about. I remember my dad was just like, oh, I don't know. He seems like such an underachiever, seems lazy. And I'm like, Dad, he had 4.5 sacks that game against Carolina. And he said, he should have had 8.
Yeah, I guess so.
With Mario Williams. But
he talked about a specimen. That guy, was he like 6'5" and 270 or something and like 2% body fat? I don't know.
Yeah. I think you're actually like lowballing him. I think he was like 6'6", 290 and like 1% body fat.
I could be.
It was like Bruce Smith in the day was that guy.
Yeah.
It's like then Mario Williams came. It's just like, who is this guy? But it was and then this, second half comes around, we turn the White gets it, and then we do the thing, It always seems like, oh, Allen does so well, like deep in his own end. Hasn't seemed to be the case as of late, which is a little worrisome for the playoffs, Well, it wasn't his fault. Singletary, who completely forgiven. The guy's a dog. I love him. Fumbles it, gives them at the 10-yard line. But we just we hold them to a field goal, and it almost felt like, okay, that's just a long drive for a field goal, pretty much.
Right. By the way, didn't it look like he recovered it? When I saw the highlight, it looked like he recovered it. And I feel like they don't. I feel like they take liberties with the rule there. To me, like if you see somebody recover it and then it's touched, which is obviously touched because there's 10 people on top of him, that should be it. Like maybe underneath that crowd, somebody pulls it away from him, and that's what happened here. But I feel like if you see it, I don't know. It seems. I
was almost thinking that too, but all they're going to care about is what they see at that pile. And I mean, Singletary is it's a small guy, of course. Some of those big guys like Judon and Bentley, they're going to be able to, away from him, but it kind of should be like, round, you got it, and like where does that line end? Probably have to put
but at least he'll do a field goal, though.
Yeah. Exactly, yeah, and little bit of an offensive output, and everybody saw the game, but we just have to say how great was John Brown getting
that's amazing.
Not only his first catch, his first touchdown back with the Bills. Everybody just loves this guy, classic. I always said when we got John Brown, it was kind of like, this is the guy we've been missing. And then, because he had 1,000 yards his first year, and then the next year we get Stephon Diggs, and we're just like, this is
not only that, but didn't we get Brown and Beasley on the same day?
I think so, yeah, in the 2019 season.
Yeah. Yep. And then Diggs the next year with a trade.
Oh, yeah. And that was the thing. And like when you see Diggs, it's just like, oh, this is really the guy we've been missing. But it's, you always have to appreciate John Brown. He was always, and what a catch today too. That was not like it was a
That was
good pass by
gorgeous.
considering the circle. It wasn't the most perfect throw. Like he had to make an amazing catch on that.
It was. It's sometimes football is a beautiful sport. It's mostly a violent sport, but sometimes it's beautiful, and that was beautiful. That catch is gorgeous.
Oh yeah, for
Beautiful
sure.
catch.
And
Great play.
And then, Patriots didn't falter, score again. Patriots, the Bills on a beautiful 3rd and 10 when it started to look like, oh God, we really got to pull it out. The classic Allen to Diggs connection, and that was an absolute dart from Allen. What we hope to see in the next 4 games coming up.
Mm-hmm. And would you say when you see that play, 9 out of 10 times it's a touchdown with those two, isn't it? I mean, I can't think of too many times when that's not the touchdown.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. You almost just think if there's like at least a little separation, even just like the most separation, you just feel like the old adage 17 plus 14 equals 6 to take away from
the first game of the season. Was it the first game of the season or the second one? The one where I think it was against the Rams, where he underthrew him and he stopped and waited for it and still caught it for a touchdown.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And that was on the run. You had to excuse Allen for underthrowing it because that was on complete duress.
It's all right. Yeah, it's on caught.
It was but sometimes I tend to be a little bit of this skeptical Bills fan and just always say like, oh, well, we could have done that better, but I just have to. I just have to get out of my own head a little bit. And
that's what somebody was saying about how we've gotten spoiled already, right? About the playoffs. Was it 6 years or 5 years ago? We were just so excited just to make the playoffs, and now we're just, oh come on, man, we need the number 1 seed. This is the number 1 seed.
Oh, exactly. I was saying it's like 12-3. Like, oh god, it's just like I expect to be like
should have beaten Minnesota, which they should have beaten Minnesota, but still,
to be like a Christmas Carol thing where the ghost of Bill's like past comes to me and just like, Tom, remember who you are. And
yeah, that's right. The perspective.
Exactly. And we almost had that moment, which could have been one of those what I call Billsy moments, which are just like things that could haunt us forever. That punt where the Bills just should have cleared out and it hits Tywan Jones on the foot, and it's just like, oh, could this be it? Could this be it?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't understand that. Why was he still blocking? Maybe he didn't hear. Maybe, I mean, who knows? Maybe he didn't hear, but you can see that Hines is making lots of signals and saying, "Guys, clear out, move out of the way." And yet he's still blocking. And granted, the guy looks like he kind of pushed him into it, but why was he still blocking? I don't know.
No, it's like at that time you just like clear and let it just happen, especially when you're at 12 and you know how hungry the Patriots are. But luckily, Milano comes through with the tipped interception, 3rd and 19. And I also said if Milano somehow did not catch that tip, I'm almost convinced, speaking of Billsy things, that the Patriots would have converted that 4th and 19. I don't know if I'm right. We'll never know, but it was just it. And
that Jefferson play in the Minnesota game, wasn't that 4th and something very long?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. And Cam Lewis, I still look at that, and everyone wants to give Jefferson the benefit of the doubt. Lewis had an opportunity to throw that to the ground, but
he could, or throw it behind him out of bounds. It doesn't matter. It's 4th down,
just out of his territory.
Yeah,
but,
So I wouldn't say you're too far off if they had gone to 4th down. I agree.
Oh, absolutely. And Tremaine Edmonds, guy who always had taken a lot of undeserved flack, I think. Finishes the game with the 3rd interception for the Bills today, and he was always I want to think Bean is a mastermind with this cap. I'm almost thinking Edmonds is a sure must sign at this point.
I think a lot of people are thinking that now after this season. I was on the fence until this season, but I think he's really stepped up and has played smarter. I mean, there's no doubt he's talented. There's no doubt he's a physical specimen again. Was he 6'5" with a long reach? I'm sure he could dunk a basketball pretty easily, and he makes it very hard for quarterbacks to get throw deep over the middle. But there were times where he just would see him in the wrong position, especially on running plays, and I haven't seen that much this year. So I think it might be time to sign him. And that'd be nice.
Exactly, and he's going to cost a pretty penny, but I have a feeling they can find a way. And
Where there's a will, there's a way.
absolutely moving on to now the most important game of the season. Looks like we don't know what time as of now. We are going to be playing the Miami Dolphins for a third time this season.
Fourth? Wait, in the playoffs?
In the playoffs.
Yes.
Yes.
You mean this for the season? Okay, gotcha. I'm sorry. I thought you meant in the playoffs.
Oh, yes. Of all time, yes.
I believe it's the fourth time in the playoffs, isn't it? I know we beat them. We beat them at least twice, and then we lost to them in the Eric Gold game.
Saturday or this weekend will be the fifth time we played them in the Super Bowl.
Fifth. Okay.
Yep. And
are we 3-1? Oh yes, you're right. I forgot about yes, we are. I forgot about that one with Tim Tyndale or whatever, the 1995 game, playoff game. That's right.
Oh yeah, that was a great one. And so this will be the fifth. And it's we don't know who's going to be starting at quarterback for the Dolphins. They're going to come. Dolphins. We're of a certain age where maybe you disagree with me. As much as some of the younger crowd still just loathes the Patriots the most of any of our rivals, I'm still always have a special place in my anti-heart for the Dolphins. And it's just
I guess I do too. I don't have it as much as other people, but I know the people that really have it are people about 10 years older than us that remember them getting just destroyed all through the 70s. I don't remember that. I remember them winning a lot.
Oh yeah. Dolphins went 20-0 against us during the 70s, and I think the first win was in 1980, and it was like pandemonium, as Van Miller would say.
It was the first time they took the goalpost down, apparently. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
For a regular season win. Yeah.
Oh yeah, which it was a little probably unwarranted compared what we were doing that season. But yeah, it's just going forward, it looks like I don't want to get too far ahead, but we should. I know we're a better team than the Dolphins. It looked like this team is going to continue to play with a heavy heart for DeMar. They, despite being exhausted, which it looked like, they came out. They definitely wanted to win this game for their guy, and it's going to be a tough game no matter who's at quarterback. They pretty solid defense. Those wide receivers are scary. If you can just get the ball to them, we can. Not as healthy as we're going to be. Looks like Dean Marlowe is probably the fit for Hamlin for the playoffs. Right. And going forward, I hate to go ahead of ourselves. It's going to be Bengals are going to be playing the Ravens, possibly without Lamar Jackson. Looking like we're going to get that full Bills versus Bengals matchup.
Yeah,
if things go, if
everything plays off as it's supposed to, right? It would be 2 against 3.
Absolutely. And we also have to mention, if it comes down to which, the matchup the NFL wants, and we want, of course, the AFC Championship, if it is Chiefs Bills, we'll be on a neutral field, which would be almost unheard of.
What venues have you heard of being talked about for that game?
Man, I wonder if they would just do it in a dome, so it would just be completely. Detroit seems like a good middle place. Chicago seems like a bit of a wild card with the weather.
What I was thinking? I don't know if you could. Oh, go ahead.
Oh yeah, no, I was thinking we definitely are getting ahead of ourselves now, but it's
that's what we do.
Yeah, it is.
That's what we do as Bills fans.
Exactly.
I was thinking it should be. I don't know if it's possible, but they should be looking at college football fields, football stadiums, because they're so much bigger. If you're gonna get 2 teams playing a neutral site, you want as many fans as possible here. I would, let's go to the big house in Michigan. 50,000 per team getting in there. Right.
That is true. Or 100,000 person. I never even thought of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's also like
or Tennessee. Yep. A lot of those. Yeah. Oh yeah. Columbus. Right. Ohio State. Yeah. Because you're going to want people are going to want to be at this game. Kansas City fans and Bills fans, and you go to one of those games that's only hosts like 70,000 people. You're not even going to get in the majority of the season ticket holders. So,
and both fan bases will fill up that stadium, no doubt. Yeah, the matchup with the Dolphins. I'm just waiting on pins and needles to find out when that game's going to be. We didn't have the opportunity to get the first round bye. It's but as long as DeMar is okay, it's just something neither here nor there,
Right.
and it's just absolutely it's incredible. Playoffs in 1 week, and it's just it's such a great feeling now that us as Bills fans, it's something we're now used to, as opposed to like a pipe dream for the 17 years between 2000 and like 2016.
Did you ever see such a unanimous choice for Super Bowl champion before the season began as the Bills? It seems odd.
I know, and it was a little worrisome too, because it's usually that's where I tend to be like,
Right.
oh, this is this is not a good sign, because I tend to be a little pessimist and jinx.
I know.
To think jinx, even though that's such an ego thing, because I know nothing is based upon anything I say. It's
right.
like that's not
no, but it did. It did seem like wait, they're all agreeing there's something wrong with this. Yeah, this is not good for Bill.
Obviously, we knew we were a great team, but we also know there are so many great teams there.
I think
Chiefs are great.
I think a lot of people just took how we looked against the Chiefs and then added Von Miller into that lineup and said, well, that's got to be the best team in the league, right? Because, I mean, we looked we were unbelievable on offense, just like Kansas City was in that game. But figure, if we had a Von Miller who could make that big play against Mahomes, as he did this season when we played them, maybe that gets us over. And, it seems like the AFC is stronger than the NFC, so maybe they figured whoever comes out of the KC Buffalo game this year will be the Super Bowl champion. So, I mean, that's how I figure it must have been. A lot of people were thinking when they decided to pick almost unanimously the Bills were going to win the Super Bowl.
Absolutely, and people love a new darling. Everybody loved Kansas City. Now I seem to be sick of Kansas City, and I think one of the greatest honors would be for us to be that team that people get sick of.
Absolutely.
Win 3 Super Bowls in a row, and people are just like, anyone but the Bills, and that'll just be like, Good.
Well, some people were getting sick of us back in the '90s, and we weren't even winning Super Bowls. We were were losing Super Bowls, and people were like, "Come on, let's have somebody else win the Super Bowl."
Yeah,
nope, it's us again, guys. Deal with it.
Yes, but I mean, half of those, so many of those people are, many of them aren't with us anymore. And then there's, this new breed of fans who knew the Bills as nothing but like middle dweller. But yeah. Getting the 2-minute warning here from the producers here. But Paul, this is a trivia question you can answer. The trivia question from 2 weeks ago, which we forgot to put on hold.
Right.
Who is the only Buffalo Bill to lead the NFL in passing in a regular season?
Joe Ferguson.
Bam! I knew you would know it. It was Joe Ferguson.
I actually saw that, and it was funny. I knew it because I'd seen it recently, but it's crazy because it wasn't like 3,200 yards or something. It was some ridiculously low number because it was a more running league back then.
Oh, it's even lower. It was in 1977, and he threw for 2,803 yards.
Yeah, that's 200 yards a game.
Oh, yeah. I think Allen may have had that by week 10, 11.
Yeah, can I ask you a real quick one? Do we have time for me to ask you one real quick?
Sure, let's go for it.
You might know this one pretty quickly too. There are 4 teams in the regular season that Allen has not beaten. Regular season. Okay, I got it. Oh, that's a great question, but I'm going to answer it because Arizona. Correct.
I'm going through the Allen in the regular season. Arizona. It's got to be mostly NFC. Philadelphia.
Mm-hmm. Correct.
Tampa Bay.
Correct.
And it's killing me.
This fourth one they did beat in the playoffs, but not in regular season.
Oh. Indianapolis?
Bam! 4 for 4.
Wow. I'm almost shocked. That's right. He has never beaten Indianapolis in the regular season.
I went to that awful game last year where Jonathan Taylor ran up and down and over and out. Wow. Yeah, that was ugly. And the weather was terrible, too, to make up for it.
And thank you for getting me out of that tonight because we were running out of time. And I was stuck in the NFC because I'm like, he's beaten every team in the AFC.
Yep.
But that's where my ego is. And I do want you to hear the trivia question we have for next week.
Yeah.
I have a feeling you may know the answer, but we will talk about that at another time.
I'm not allowed to say it out loud, though, right? I'm not allowed to say it out loud, though, right? Okay.
Yeah. So the Buffalo Bills will be facing the Miami Dolphins for the 5th time in the Super Bowl era in the playoffs, matching one other team that we have faced 5 times. Who is that team?
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I could. I don't have it right off the top of my head, but I could figure it out relatively quickly by going through.
Paul, thank you for that question, and I'm glad. Thank you for making me look like a Bills messiah on my own show.
Yeah, stroke your ego a little bit there, huh? Nice. Leave on a feel good note.
Oh man, and that would be a great question for another time. But that's. I'm almost like, I never thought of that, and such a great question for you to come up with. Thank you so much. Enjoy the game next week. Absolutely. And to our audience out there, relish in this win. It was well-deserved after a rough week. And we'll continue to monitor the status of our beloved Damar Hamlin. Seems to be improving at an exponential rate, and we just hope that continues. Join us again next week, and let's go Buffalo, and let's go Damar. Thanks again for listening to Buffalo Bills or Bust. Remember to like and subscribe. Leave a comment, and let's go Buffalo! Buffalo Bills or Bust has been a Samurai Dinosaur production. Copyright 2023.